Okay, this is Reverend Joseph Andrew Jensen. I'm trying to continue this. Had a lot of interruptions on that last one, but I started out talking about during the time of the Nephilim, the days of Enoch. I told you about the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, the Catholic Church during Constantine's time in 306, the year 306, they picked and choose what they wanted to have, and they brought out the 23 books that were manipulated by Paul. As I mentioned, Paul was the Antichrist. He tried to point somebody in the Antichrist. He's the first one to mention it, and he's pointed everybody to look out for the Antichrist. When he was actually the wolf in sheep's clothing, Jesus called him the great deceiver. It wasn't. We weren't talking about Satan then. He was talking about the great deceiver. Jesus was talking about Paul. Who's to say whether Jesus knew Paul was a great deceiver or not? He was listening to his Father. And when he's listened to his Father, there's some things that he might not have perceived. I mean, they didn't know about DNA in that day, and they didn't know a lot of things. And he himself, when he was calling somebody Satan, or it was intentionally written as Satan. You know what I'm saying? Because all those books were not written by the original apostles. It was 12 apostles, and only 4 of them wrote the books, 4 or 5. I think Judas had a book. Definitely Peter had a book. James had a book. Matthew had a book. Matthew was the only one that was a tax collector for the Jews before. But Jesus told him, no matter, come follow me. He was the real thing. But then Paul, because Paul was rewriting all the epistles and pages of everybody, he added, definitely could see the adding when he started talking about Revelation in his chapter 28. And it was, Mark said, like plagiarism. You know what I'm saying? It was like, used the same words. Both of them was put, ironically, they're both put in red writing, but they were both together all the time. And they were writing the scriptures left and right. They wrote the whole Bible the way they wanted. And the Catholic religion is the one that they threw out the book of Enoch. They threw out the book of Jubilee. They threw out 2 books of Adam, 2 books of Enoch, the book of Jubilee. All these were commonly read by the church. By the people during the days before Constantine. But then they were decanonized, hidden within the thing. All this stuff is going to be uncovered. It's all going to be uncovered when God comes. And He's coming in 2 months. In fact, by the interpretation of what God told me, He's actually coming with the angels. Think about that. He's coming with the angels. That's what I said. The everybody will be working for GODScoin, $100,000 a month in a GODScoin added to your accounts. But everybody on earth will get that money. But everybody on earth will participate in building that bank. Every bank CEO, whether it's the banker himself, whether it's the restaurant or cafeteria inside, the landscaping crew outside, the housekeepers, to anything from plumbing maintenance. These banks will all be unique. I'm going to also make sure that every bank of mine has a Tesla recharger in the parking lots for the cars, for customers. And we're going to do our best. God's telling me that to get everybody a car. an electric vehicle, and there'll be a charger at each one of those stations. From there, you can drive 300 miles on a single charge. But there would be no shortage because this is all over the world. I need 1 billion banks. Now, the reason we're so smart, and God let this happen, He wrote it. He watched us to see what we'll do for 5,000, 6,000 years, whatever, how old this world is. He wrote it then. He can't change it. He can't change the thing that He wrote, so He couldn't really help us because everything is everything, cause and effect. Like He said, He could have the angels nudge us one way or another. And I mean literally nudge us, whether we recognize them or not, because they're really unseen, because even if they're moving God's speed, we can't see them. Now we can see God. I was mentioning that in either this video or the other video, that you just go have an MRI done, and you'll see God firing the snaps of the brain, because God is nothing but energy. He's the energy of your life, but a strange energy, one that none like any other, not like electricity or radiation or gas or nothing like that. Because this one cares, this one loves, has compassion, and it thinks. God knows more than all the angels. He knows no more than anybody on earth. And he keeps track of it. But with that kind of knowledge, He's still not a micromanager. So God's going to give every 18-year-old to 40-year-old a job, paying them a GODScoin per month, worth $100,000 per month. That's $1,200,000 a year. For the bank executives, the CEOs, it's going to be twice that, $2,400,000 a year. Now, what I was telling you, the reason we got so smart during the days of Enoch, everything that we think of aliens coming to this planet and everything, sure, the angels were the aliens. They come, but they were always here, but they just come out of hiding. They quit doing the will of God, and they went against God. They're actually ones that taught us so much. They're the ones, they had wings, so they spread themselves out all over the earth. The Inca runes and things like that in Peru, where they have the animals drawn on the ground, they had wings. They flew. There's no mystery there. These things flew. And you see, what's to say with, there's any others out there, other life? Nobody can really say that. But God's coming here. Now here's the key part. God is coming, not coming here. He's going to appear to us. Like He did with me. You're not going to see Him, but you're going to understand where He's at. You're going to understand that He's right there inside you. If you want to see Him, go have an MRI taken of your brain and see the synapses. That's God. But the angels will come out of hiding. Means they'll slow down. And because everybody that is a worker for God, in God's services, on a 6-hour workday, 2 hours of that is your break times, and to eat. 4 hours work, 2 hours break time. And to transport, driving, anything you're doing, eating lunch, going to the bathroom, smoke breaks, whatever you guys are doing. That's your 2 hours. And then the other 1 hour, that's going to be taking martial arts, like I took in Kempo. Everybody will learn Kempo. And the other one, you'll actually be working at a police academy or a military thing, and you'll actually learn to defend yourself and to actually work to aid certify as a police officer, certify as a soldier. But even they have to retrain, because they won't be shooting for the head and chest. They're going to shoot for the hands and feet. Everybody's got to retrain. Nobody's ever going to die. Killing is going to be accountable. There's not going to be anybody killed anymore. There's not going to be accountable. You're accountable to the person. You're accountable to God because God lives within us. All your unborn children, they live in us too. Everybody in our DNA. How many die just because you kill somebody or somebody kills somebody? You'll also be trained as paramedics. Everybody trained as paramedics. A whole lot of things will happen the day that you get recruited into this. You'll love it. Everybody will love it, but everybody has the responsibility to, so that this time we're the criminals, homosexuals, lesbians, anybody that has some kind of thing that's stood there and taught us and taken us away from God and God's policies. They're not going to do it anymore. They're at the risk of losing their GODScoin. And they're going to be controlled by us. Government's going to definitely be under control because we're going to vote them in or out by phone. Well, when we get at the bank, they're going to give them a phone. Facial recognition, voice recognition, fingerprint identification, hand geometry. Every coin has to be dated. Got 20 years to use it or lose it. And there's no more saving huge amounts of money. You just got to spend it. And whatever you need to build, if you want to build your home and castle and anything you want to do, but if you want, and after you get through with that, if you want to build anything, your own restaurant, I don't care if it's a McDonald's franchise or whatever, you go right ahead. I'll front you the money. I will try to make sure that everybody gets a brand new electric vehicle. There's 4 manufacturers out there basically that are making hybrid vehicles. We're not going to talk about hybrids. We want electric vehicles. Well, you can have the things if you're going to go longer distances and drive across country, but there's no need for it. There's no need for any other kind of thing, because if you got a charging station at every banking facility, and the banking facilities are every corner of every country and every state, every city, everybody in the world. We're talking about everybody in the world. We can get around by electric cars. The chargers will be at the bank. We have a restaurant or a cafeteria that's going to be open to the customer as well as the employees all day long, besides their money. There'll be people with handicaps, people that are retarded, joining us as teams, and we'll work together. And it's not about the work day. We are to have the greatest work day ever, helping each other out. This won't be hard because we're not doing industrial banking. We're not doing commercial banking. We are only concerned for the customer. You, in your neighborhood, you're watching your money. It's being protected by police. If everybody's trained to be a police and you're in the police force. Plus, everybody that's come there to doing their job as a police is going to be there at the bank. It could include military. Every bank has to start every day with a huge amount of money. Whatever that bank is used to delivering out in their neighborhood to how many people. That bank might only serve 24 people before the next one. But there'll be enough money to make sure that they get anything they want. But you remember, you can't, your large purchases and things like that, like a car, they'll go through, and even your houses and things like that. I don't want your mortgages. I don't want nobody's going to owe for nothing. I don't want nothing. I don't want to own your stocks, your bonds, or anything else. You keep all that. I want you. God wants you. I'm the CEO of God's Living Ministry. I'm God's representative on earth. God's messenger and representative here on earth. He's the one that had me ordained, and he's the one that told me to write the book of God's message, and he's also told me what to do. I'm a sole proprietor, And I don't have, nobody's above me. I don't have any committees or anybody else. I just do exactly what God tells me to do, and I'd be crazy not to. I couldn't do this. No way would I want to be in this position for 1 second if it wasn't for God. I don't do anything on my own. Now I'll be in 2 months. Next week I buy my book and I start writing my book. I can't afford it now. Not next month, next week. 7 more days from now, or actually on the 19th of this month, 19th of February, I'll get my new computer and I start writing. I have 1 month to write that book because next month I'm headed to Cairo. I'm getting married to a girl named Selena. She lives in Giza, right at the pyramids. And she's been my travel agent for 2 years, and I've been closer to her than anybody else in my life. And I've talked her into marrying me. She's young. I'm 72, she's 28. But everybody has to realize too, everybody was created on this earth for one sole reason, according to God. That's to have children. Have the children that God's awarded to you. So he can live. He can't live. And what have we been doing? We've been killing. Every religion's guilty of killing. The Jews, the Catholics, Islam, Muslims, the Buddhists, Hindus. It doesn't matter what religion you're on, but those main religions, those 4 I mentioned, they're in the news right now. It was only like at the inauguration, Trump's inauguration, that they killed 14 people were killed in New Orleans. They were killed in New Orleans by a man saying that he's a supporter of ISIS and a believer. Where is the insanity in that? Someone killing God and he's a believer? That's the stupidest thing as there is, and that's what God's telling us. The only other choice is don't ever mention the word God or Jesus Christ or Allah in your dialogue. Don't even think about naming them in your life. If you're not going to join God's service and get GODScoin, if you're not going to serve God, it's not your will, it's God's will be done. Allah's will be done. Not your will. It's not your will. And you don't have free will. You never have free will when you have free will. You're doing the government's will. You're doing your friend's will. You're doing your church's will. We're doing everybody's will but God's. The minute you had to read a piece of paper or go someplace to hear about God or read about God to a library, you turned your back on God. You quit listening to God. When God's talking to you every day, everybody can hear God. God talks to you in the first word that he says every day. Why? Because he's got to turn that switch to allow you to talk, to allow you to think, to sneeze, to taste, to hear. You understand? But the biggest sense of all is thinking. He allowed you to think. And the first thought's always going to be God. Come on, let's go. We got to go. We got to go to school. We got to go to work. Come on, get up. Let's get a cup of coffee. Now, when God says he wants a cup of coffee, he might say he wants a beer. Yeah. Come on, people. You judges stuff, wrote the thing like you guys are God. What God will eat or drink will think. No, you don't do that. That's not your decision. That's God's decision. And if you want a beer, you can drink a beer. Because Allah wants a beer. Because God wants a beer. He'll tell you when you had too much or when to quit. And then you got to listen to him too. Anybody that starts listening to Allah or God, and they know God's voice and they understand it, and then stops, you're in deep trouble. I'm God's representative, and I just got through. Been in the whole last year. I went to 6 different. I went to 3 countries twice in a row, and to Bujumbura, actually 4 countries. Bujumbura, Africa, was the first country. And who did I meet? Who do I see? Of course, God's going to put me in front of the people He wants to talk to. I'm talking to you. You're listening to me right now. Why are you listening to me? And why do you hear me? Because God's inside you, and He knows this broadcast is going to happen. You need to hear it. Because I'm talking for Allah. This is in God inside you. I don't know who you are, but God knows who you are. And when I get to meet you personally, I always have a great time. There was a reason why I talked to you. Maybe you needed talking to. Maybe I needed to hear what you got to say. But I ended up in Africa in a place with 160 children with autism, cerebral palsy, twisted limbs, children from children coming in, 160 children on buses every morning. It's run by the Catholics. It's a center, a school. Kids come in uniform that are given to them, and the nuns, Sister Vanessa, Sister Rosa, and there's 2 other nuns. I didn't get their names, but the one, Sister Rosa, spoke perfect English, and Sister Vanessa speaks French and Slovak. She's originally born in Slovenia. Ironically, I got a friend, Francis Skrubek, that lives in Slovenia too. Him and I worked 5 years together, doing 5 reactor head replacements for Westinghouse. This is incredible. My life has been incredible, and your life will be incredible once you have God. Especially the fact, here's the number one fact that I had to get across to everybody. If God's coming here, He is coming here. He'll be here in less than before June, way before June, and it's going to happen in one day. And one day, I'll be on the news around the world. How many people applied for the position to start that bank? They're going to get 2 GODScoins immediately. Those bank managers that want to build a bank in their neighborhood, on either at one side of the street or the other side of the street, they choose their own location. It'll have their name on it. Those bank managers, I need about 1 billion of them. And so 1 billion people, and we'll see what the response is that day. Because, believe me, the news reporters are going to be counting people. And if everybody in this world will come there and be, that comes in there with they'll be opening a GODScoin account. Everybody's coming to open up that GODScoin account, whether there's a building there or not. They'll be recording those names. They're customers. And they're going to have a GODScoin written down. They won't get the GODScoin till the bank is complete. So the bank takes a week with that many people. I mean, it's an unlimited amount of people could show up to help them build that bank. Anybody from 18 years old to 40. It's your job to help get that. Whether we buy the materials or if the building supply companies and things want to donate the things so that they'll always get the business of GODScoin's customers, they be smart to give us all we needed. Everybody's going to get paid. Architects, engineers, artists. The janitorial service needs people. And we're talking about, unlimited amounts of people because everybody's going to work in OJT, on the job training. Students to learn to be the best in their job. Free meals. Because everybody's in the hospitals, working in the hospital will be getting GODScoin, then you're going to have free health care, no matter whether it's in the hospital, old people's home, a rest home, whether it's a clinic, whether it's I don't care if it's a mental institution. The jails will be emptied, and everybody can straighten up. They're going to be given a second choice. The work for GODScoin, that can be suspended or taken away. They'll be warned. They'll be working like on probation right beside us. 2, they have the right. You know why? Because the primary purpose, I don't know if I mentioned this. The primary purpose, yeah, I did mention it, but I'm going to mention it again, of everybody is to have children. Like I said, we've been killing, we've been aborting our children, or we haven't had children, or we worked. We're too busy to have children. Every woman that gets pregnant will still get her GODScoin. Will still get her 12 GODScoin a year on maternity leave. Now, her family can work or don't work. That's their choice. But while they're working, they won't be getting the monthly GODScoin if they want to stop. And the people that get in GODScoin that are 18 to 40, if you're not working, you're going to be in school. Everybody's going to start at kindergarten. Why? There's going to be some new stuff to learn in kindergarten. And you're going to be with actual 6th graders. 4th, 5th, 6 years old, maybe 4 years old. But who else is going to be teaching us something? The angels. They're coming out of hiding. They're going to come there. There's 10,000 angels, They're going to come out of hiding, and they're already around us. We just can't see them, but they're going to slow down, and they're going to make a visit to every school. And they're going to come out, and they can give us a little lecture, a little something to think about. They're going to teach us. They can teach Elon Musk a few things. They can tell the people that are digging for gold where the gold's at. They can tell you the stuff that, everything. What happened in the past, everything, the Bible, everything that's real. They can tell the stories of everything that's there. So they can stay with us through the day and tell us what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future, and tell us things that we need to know. This is incredible. That's why we got to go back to school and start at kindergarten, where everybody's up on the same level. Talking to you as a 4 or 5 or 6 year old in the 1st grade, kindergarten rather. And then I'll go every year attend that. Everybody will have to go 1 hour a day. To a martial arts studio and learn Kempo. Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, and Kempo are the 3 main things. And what I'm saying, you're doing that because everybody in this world has we're stopping the criminals, and we're stopping anybody. GODScoin will stop on anybody that comes under suspicion. Not their family, but they will be jerked out of the system, told to go home and sit on their hands while they investigate. While investors investigate at their own expense, we're going to pay them anything they want to dig up the dirt on you, find out what you've been up to. Criminals, people in gangs, people that aren't arrested yet but want to turn themselves in. Okay? You'll be relocated to government land. On government land, it could be Yellowstone Park. You'll get 2.5 acres. That's 1 hectare in other countries. 1 hectare. And some, I don't care if it's Yosemite Park or Yellowstone National Park or Mount Rushmore. I mean, if it's in your backyard, The ones that get it, they won't have anybody living close to you for 30 miles. But you'll go there with a film crew. You'll go there with a producer. You'll go there with architects, engineers, people, and you'll all be movie stars because you're going to be on reality TV. And why he or she's inside prison doing their time, they're going to be able to talk to each other on a flat screen TV in the hallway, and everybody's going to hear what you say and your relationship. And they're going to be building your paradise. And when you do your time in that, you want to become you're going to already be a reality TV star. But then you're going to go home and be with your families. So what gang member, what criminal wouldn't trade that off? But to keep them safe, they're going to be done like the witness protection program. They will be sent to another country. Could be the Bujumbura. It could be to Switzerland. It could be into any country. And in government lands, on national lands, 2.5 acres, nobody's going to know where you're at because they can't get on government land. Fear is the one thing everybody's been living by. If you want to wear the Muslims and Islam want to wear their robes and stuff in fear anymore? No. Wear it on your day. Friday is the day that you worship Allah. Wear your traditional clothing then. But through the week, no. When you're in banks and stuff, no. You're gonna let your hair down. You're gonna be in dress. You're gonna be dressed nice, and you can afford to dress nice. You're gonna be able to get manicures, and you're gonna be able to wear makeup, and the men will be able to. Nobody's gonna criticize you out of the thing. You're gonna be able to eat what you want. If you serve pork, you can eat pork because that means Allah wanted pork. In the United States, we eat bacon. If they tell you it's unclean, I'll tell you what. If you're going to listen to the Jews, which were murderers and thieves, they were stealing the gold of the pyramids. That's why they had to melt it down to a calf. They were in a hurry. And then right after they got through having the biggest miracles pulled off and melt down the calf, they're given the broken 10 Commandments. They picked up the pieces and put it inside an ark, and they carried it to everything. And what is one of the commandments that God wrote with his own finger? Which is like basically lightning. He wrote the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. What's every religion been doing? Killing, justified killing, judging. Who the hell give anybody the right to judge? You're trying to say that you're God? You know God? You don't have a clue who God is if you claim that. This is the same thing I'm talking about, Paul. Oh, you honor these saints. Well, I would honor Peter, and I would honor Andrew, because they were crucified together. They say Peter was crucified upside down. Well, how would they know that? When he was crucified, and nobody knew about it for 2 years. Yeah, look up in 68 AD when the Pentecostal church of Peter killed Mark and Paul. Because Paul came out with John, the 2nd John and 3rd John. The books of 2nd John and 3rd John were completely fabricated by Paul. The same as the 2nd Peter and 3rd Peter were completely, and they couldn't produce them. It says, oh, they're fine. Here, they just wrote some more books. It was stupid to even go back there and say that. He should have kept it the way it was, lost. But he went back and said, and they gave him Revelation. No, you can read right now, Revelation. It was written by the apocalypse was predicted by Ezekiel in the Bible of the end days. I don't know what Ezekiel was. But he's a dreamer because it's not going to happen. What God's going to do is he's going to build a bank and everything, and everybody country's going to get GODScoin. China, North Korea, South Korea, everybody's going to get it. But if you mess up, it's going on suspension. It's going to be suspended. And then, like I said, I'm going to tell you to go home, sit on your hands, because the voters, 9 billion voters, how many people are 18 and older? Half of everybody? 4.5 billion people who new voters in this world? God's not a micromanager. He doesn't want that part. He's putting the micromanaging in the hands of everybody collectively. To make the rules, make the laws, get rid of you can get rid of somebody faster than they got voted in. All the data in this world is going to be destroyed, not read, not gone through. Well, I mean, we'll look at it. We'll all see it first before we destroy it. But we're not going to keep it, that's for sure. That data's not going to be kept. We'll all go through it, we'll talk about it, and then we'll destroy it. We're not going to record nothing. It's going to be illegal to keep data. All these people, these brains that come up with these algorithms and things, no. They waste their job. People that work for the IRS, FBI, CIA, Secret Services and things, no, they're not going to have a job anymore. Because everybody's trained to be a police. Within a year, you will be certified as a police officer. Everybody will be certified as a police officer. And within a year, you'll be certified as a paramedic. So everybody's on call by that same phone that you use for the bank. Hey, your guy 2 blocks away from you is having a heart attack. Who can get there first? Announcing it. Somebody's going to get there. The same as how many employees are going to be there. You're going to be overrun because everybody's there wanting to go there to school. You're going to want to be in that hospital. You're going to be on whatever place you want to learn. If you're field of choice. And if you're not working, you're going to be in school. Now, a first grader, if a person goes to school, that doesn't work, and they go into school 6 hours a day, they can earn. They could be learning 4 years. You know, skip kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. They don't have to. It won't take them 4 years. It'll take them 1 year. But that's because they went to school first, full time, and then they chose what their occupation. But we all got to learn our purpose in life is to have children. The children that we have within us. You girls have a certain amount of children within yourself. God-given children that are already born. You fathers, you got children too. And it assigned to you. And we are to have the children that thing to perpetuate God. God lives in everybody. This is why God has written it. He's come back not to destroy us and not to keep us from having children. That's why you're shooting for the hands and feet when you shoot at somebody. Trump, I've done mention this to you, and I can't mention to you enough. Israel started here as thieves. Murders and thieves, and they wrote the Torah as murders and thieves. And they made incredible judgments that were even followed by Islam and Muslims. Follow the same thing: not to eat pork, not to drink alcohol. Well, the Jews drink alcohol, of course. They ain't gonna do it without it, but still they don't eat pork. They follow each other. I told you in the words of Abraham, though, God has never killed nobody. In the words of Abraham, where he said God told him to kill his son as a test, no. Hell no. God ain't never done that. So when Samuel come there and claimed that he for somebody to commit genocide on a town and told Saul to kill everybody, no. Samuel was not a man of God. I don't even think Jonah was. Jonah didn't get swallowed by a whale. He floated beside that whale for those numbers of days, and that whale did not go under the water to keep him alive. How does it happen that he still lived out there in the middle of the ocean? It's because the whale decided to stay on top of the water and save his life. Is that more believable? Oh, I got more stories to tell you, but I don't have to, because the angels will be there. The angels will be there to tell you to really happen. We don't, like I said, the angels will tell you where the gold is, and they'll tell you who's going to get it. Probably the same ones that are trying to get it now, but he'll just make it easier. Because the angels tell me who God wants me to have it. It's not going to be everybody goes running for somebody else's stuff. Greed's not going to be in anywhere in God's vocabulary. So let's leave that be. But Trump, Israel's got to get out of Jerusalem. Take them back to Sinai. I'm going to talk to the Egyptians and make sure it's all right, because there'll be a big fence put up between Sinai and the rest of Egypt, so the Jews won't ever intermingle with the Egyptians again. They already had a war one time, and they're not going to mingle again. But there is nothing in the Sinai. It's desert, and they'll wander the desert 40 years or forever. That's God's decision. I'm going to leave you now. This was a better thing than the second one. This is going to be the replacement for a messed up video that I made a while ago. Good night.